Open City. Their journey ended at JFK Terminal 4. They took him away at customs. On the table between him and the officer that day, Saidu said, was a plastic bag with his possessions. Clothes, mostly, and his mother's birth certificate. The bag had been tagged. Voices rose from the other side of the partition. The officer then looked at him, looked at the notes his colleague had made, shook his head, and began to write. Then 2 women came in, smelling of bleach. One of them was a black American. They took him up and put a rubber bracelet across both his wrists. The bracelet cut his skin, and when he stood up, the black American woman pushed him. Was he afraid? He wasn't afraid, no. He hadn't thought it would take long to sort it all out. He was thirsty, and after being cooped up in the plane, he longed simply to be outside in the air and to smell America. He wanted food and a bath. He wanted a chance to work, perhaps as a barber to start with, then something different. He would go to Florida, maybe, because it was a name he had always liked. They steered him forward as if they were leading a blind man, and as he crossed the partition and saw into the other room, where the rising voices had come from, he saw men in uniform, white men and black men with guns in their holsters. They brought me here, he said, and that was the end. I've been here ever since. I've only been outside 3 times, on the days when I went to court. The lawyer they assigned me said I might have had a chance before 9/11, but it's okay. I'm okay. The food here is bad. It has no taste, but there's a lot of it. One thing I miss is the taste of groundnut stew. You know it? The other inmates are all right. They're good people. Then, lowering his voice, the guards are sometimes harsh. Sometimes harsh. You can do nothing about it. You learn how to stay out of trouble. I'm one of the youngest, you know. Then, raising his voice slightly, they let us exercise. And there's cable television. Sometimes we watch soccer, sometimes basketball. Most of us prefer soccer. Italian league, English league. The security officer had returned, tapping his wristwatch. The visit was over. I raised my hand to the plexiglass, and Saidu did the same. I don't want to go back anywhere, he said. I want to stay in this country. I want to be in America and work. I applied for asylum, but I wasn't given. And now, they will return me to my port of entry, which is Lisbon. When I got up to leave, he remained seated and said, "Come back and visit me, if I'm not deported." I said that I would, but never did. The airport. Marc Auge, in Non-Places, Introduction to an Anthropology of Super Modernity, coined the term non-place. Locations that erase culture, identity, and intimacy. The airport is one of the places he says fits into this category. From this short passage, we hear Saidu, a Liberian immigrant, recount his experience at John F.Kennedy Airport. This passage from Open City by Teju Cole is a melancholy representation of the reality for many immigrants. This non-place for Saidu had transformed into a place of disappointment, a place of trauma, a place of shattered dreams, a place of stagnation, a place in the in-between. For many African immigrants, this is their story too. They weren't able to go outside and smell the American air. They weren't able to walk through the streets and say to themselves, "Ah, so this is what America is like." They weren't able to get jobs and work. For many, this non-place is where their journey ends. I'd like to imagine what it'd be like if Saidu had been given the opportunity to have his dreams realized. How would he walk through the airport?